Hi guys, welcome to Storytime. Today our Storytime is going to be about space. So we're going to read a couple stories about stars and going to the moon and going to Mars. And if you like some of these stories, we actually have more. A couple of these books are called Why Do You Really Want to Visit the Moon? And then we also have Do You Really Want to Visit Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, all of the planets. So if you like these stories, you guys can come check out more of them at the library. Okay, so we're going to get started. Our first story is called My Friend the Starfinder. My Friend the Starfinder. Once there was an old man. I knew him when I was no bigger than you are now. He wore old soft clothes and sat in an old chair on an old green porch and told stories. The stranger they were, the truer he looked, and I believed every one of them. For starters, he told me once he saw a star falling. And since he'd done his chores and it was still light, he followed the star across the field. Coming down. Way, way ahead of him it landed, so he kept walking. And when he got to the spot, he picked the star up. It was warm and smooth as an egg straight from the hen. So this is a little space rock, and when they fall from the sky, it looks like a star is falling. He kept it, of course, put it in my hands, glassy blackish green like puddles around a coal pile. I held it tight, trying to feel its journey. Oops. Another time he told me how once he was walking along, not really going anywhere in particular, when all of a sudden he saw his hand, purple as a church window. And his arm was green, green as this porch, he said. And his old khaki pants were red and yellow and orange as a sunset, yellow and red and orangey orange as fire. He was at the end of the rainbow. He was at the end of the rainbow, color pouring over him, cool, warm, striped air. On face and hair, shirt and shoes, and a belt buckle. Now he couldn't bring home the rainbow the way he did the star. But when he told the story, holding out his hand, I could feel the colors. I could see it was true, and how he would tell it just like I'm telling you. The end. Okay, the next one is, do you really want to visit the moon? I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to visit the moon. I kind of like keeping my feet on the ground. But I bet some of you would. You really need more space to ride, somewhere where nothing would get in your way, like the moon. But do you really want to visit the moon? Your trip to the moon will take about 4 days. As you get close, you'll see thousands of craters peppering its gray surface. The flat areas are darker. They're called Maria. Some Maria look nice and flat. They still have a lot of craters. And watch out for those boulders. They were kicked out of the ground when the meteorites struck the moon. Your spacecraft touches down. The moon has no air, so you'll need a spacesuit with an oxygen tank to breathe. With no air here, the sky is always black, even during the day. On Earth, the air scatters sunlight to make the sky appear blue. Walking on the moon is like trying to walk in a sand dune. It takes a while to get used to. Hopping like a kangaroo seems to work quite well as well. The moon has less gravity than Earth. If you weigh 60 pounds on Earth, you'll weigh only 10 pounds on the moon. Slam dunks are really easy. But you came here to find more room to ride. You can cover more ground in a lunar buggy. Wow, this is where the astronauts first walked on the moon. You can see their footprints. They're still here more than 40 years later because the moon has no wind or rain to wear them away. Your spacesuit is getting very dirty. Moon dust sticks to everything. The dirt on the moon's surface is like a fine powder and is called regolith. Weren't there other astronauts on the moon? You cruise around to find 5 other landing sites. You can't hear the electric motor of your rover. You tried drumming on the dashboard. No sound. Sound needs to travel through air to be heard. With no air, there's no sound of the moon. No music either. At least you can collect some moon rocks. Maybe you'll get extra credit in science class. Enough exploring. Time to ride. Guess I should have worn the seat belt. You catch air on the edge of the craters. Boulders make great obstacle courses. Soon you see the Earth in the sky, and an Earthrise. It's not nearly as dusty on Earth, and there's air and a little more gravity, and you can hear the drums. It's a great ride up here. But you wouldn't really want to stay on the moon too long. And here's all of the different planets that you guys can check out. All right, now we're going to look at some of the fun trucks that you guys get to use in space. We are the Space Squad. We study outer space with the help of our space fleet. Each one has a job of its own. Can you guess what each one does? This is a carrier rocket. Can you guess what it does? It has a fin, fuel tank, and a rocket engine. A carrier rocket has a very powerful engine that can take people and machines into space. This is a space plane. Can you guess what it does? There's the main engine, and then they have payload bay doors that open. A space plane can be launched on a rocket into space. Astronauts can use it as a spacecraft, but it can also fly and land like an airplane. So it takes off, and this helps it get started and launches it into space, and then this falls into the ocean, and the spaceship keeps going to outer space. This is a space exploration vehicle. Can you guess what it does? It has a pressurized cabin so you can breathe. It has pivoting wheels and a docking hatch. A space exploration vehicle allows astronauts to work in space without spacesuits. They are being built to fly in space or drive on planets and moons. This is a satellite. Can you guess what it does? It has a solar array and a module and an antenna. Satellites orbit or travel around Earth. They can collect information and send communication signals for things like cell phones, TVs, and computers. This is the International Space Station. Can you guess what it does? The International Space Station is a gigantic satellite. Scientists from all over the world live here so they can learn more about space. So they live in this center spot right here. See them? We are the Space Squad. Can you guess what we do when we all work together? We can explore and learn all about the wonders of space. All right, our last story for today is Fancy Nancy's Stellar Stargazer. We are eating al fresco, that's fancy for outside, and waiting for the sky to grow dark. My little sister is so impatient. She keeps tugging on my arm and asking, "Where are the stars at? I want to see stars." So I tell Jojo, "A star is out right now." She thinks I'm teasing, but I'm not, because guess what? The sun is a star. It's much closer than any other star. That's why it looks so big. During the day, its bright light blocks out all the other stars. The other stars are always up there in the sky. We just can't see them until the sun sets and the sky is dark. "Can you wish on the sun?" Jojo asks. It is a star after all, so why not? We close our eyes and say, "Starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. I wish I may, I wish I might, have this wish I wish tonight." Warning to all stargazers, never ever look right in the sun, even when you're wearing glamorous sunglasses or using binoculars. It will damage, that's fancy for hurt, your eyes. Now Jojo sees the moon, and she wants to wish on that too. "No, you can't," I tell her. "That's definitely against the rules because the moon isn't a star." "But it's shining," Jojo says. So I draw a picture for her to help her understand. The moon is made of rock. It can't shine on its own. The light from the sun reflecting off the moon makes it look like it's shining. Understand? Guess what? You could lie under the moon for hours and hours and never get a moonburn. "Hey," I say to my sister, "want to pretend we are astronauts going to the moon?" We go get our spacesuits, and soon we are ready to blast off. Now we count down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off! When we land, we breathe through our tanks because there is no air on the moon. On the moon, it's boiling hot during the day and freezing cold at night. There's no in between, but our spacesuits protect us. We go exploring. All we see are rocks and dust. Everything is gray or brown, which are my least favorite colors. "Isn't it dreary?" I say to astronaut Jojo. Dreary is fancy for dark and ugly. So is anything fun on the moon? Turn the page to find out. Let's find out. Yes. On the moon, you don't walk, you bounce. It's like being on a trampoline. Boing, boing, boing. Spaceships don't have ovens, so we can't cook. No problem. I brought along a bag of real astronaut ice cream that I bought on a class trip to the planetarium. Real astronauts eat this stuff. We pour on some chocolate sauce, and voila! It's Outer Space Sunday. We plant a flag, just like the first men on the moon did. Their flag is still there. Astronaut Jojo and I drive a lunar vehicle, that's fancy for moon car, back to our spaceship. We're ready to return home. "Greetings and salutations, fellow Earthlings," I say when we land. "Welcome back. See any aliens?" my dad asks. My dad is teasing. There are no aliens. That's fancy for space creatures. When the moon is full, you can sort of see a face. That's why people say there's a man in the moon. Here's my drawing. I made the man in the moon a lady. a fancy lady. Because of the way the sun shines on the moon, it looks different every night. Tonight, it looks like a skinny banana. That's called a crescent moon. Every night, the moon appears a little bigger until it's a full moon. Then it starts shrinking all the way back down to a crescent moon again. You can see the pattern of the moon up here. Ooh la la! A few stars are out. They really do look like diamonds in the sky. Just like it says in Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Right away I locate, that's fancy for find, the North Star. There's your North Star. Long ago, sailors could tell which way their ship was going by looking for the North Star. Finding your way by starlight sounds so romantic. My dad and I tried to locate some constellations. They are groups of stars that make a picture like a connect-the-dot puzzle. There are bears, dogs, swans, and whales. I love the legend. That's the fancy word for stories about constellation. The easiest constellation to find is the Big Dipper. A Big Dipper is like a big spoon. Here's the Big Dipper, and there's some whales, and a bear, and a dog. One of the most famous constellations is called the Hunter. The Hunter's name is Orion. You say it like this, Orion. He can be seen in the cold months. He is handsome and brave, but he bragged all the time. We're having trouble finding any constellations because, big clouds are moving across the sky. It will probably clear up, Dad says, and while we wait, I make up my own constellation. I call it the Diamond Tiara. I tell my dad, long ago, a beautiful princess named Nanette fell in love with a commoner. I explained to him that's fancy for someone who isn't royal. The legend of the Diamond Tiara. The king wouldn't let Nanette marry him. One day she ran away. She wore plain, ugly clothes so she wouldn't look like a princess. Only she forgot one thing. She still had on her diamond tiara. The palace guards nearly caught her. The second Nanette got outside, she took off her tiara and threw it up into the sky where it joined the other stars. That end. That's a wonderful legend, my dad says. Did she find the commoner and get married? All my stories have happy endings. It's very cloudy and windy now. My mom takes Jojo inside, but I am determined to camp out overnight. Determined means I'm sticking it out no matter what. My dad makes a fire and we roast marshmallows. It's cozy in my sleeping bag. I hear raindrops plip-plop on our tent. My dad says, it isn't a stellar night for stargazing, but we had fun. The next thing I know, it's morning, and Dad wakes me up shouting, quick, come look. Ooh la la, my wish came true. Something extra special is in the sky. I think rainbows are just as magnificent as stars, don't you?